Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to the channel, and today we are in Singapore. So it's our first time in this beautiful city of Singapore. So in this video we're going to take you around and give you a good 2-day 3 nights itinerary on what you can do in Singapore, what you can eat, where you should go, what you should try if you are on a short trip to Singapore. So it'll help you plan your next journey a bit better. So let's go check it out.
Even with a limited time, you absolutely can't miss a few hawker centers in Singapore. They are your best bet to try some of the most delicious foods in Singapore at very reasonable prices. We visited two of the most famous ones. This is Lau Pa Sat, which is definitely the fanciest of the hawker centers in Singapore, and it's the closest to Marina Bay Sands, so it's the easiest and the most convenient one. We tried some noodles of mee goreng and an Indian style vegetarian thali. Both of the dishes were absolutely delicious. I highly recommend visiting Lau Pa Sat, but because it's close to some of the most famous places, it's not the cheapest. The next one we tried was the Newton Food Center. If you have seen the movie Crazy Rich Asians, you'll quickly recognize this one. It's located in the Newton suburb and it's absolutely beautiful. It's very open air, really nice and comfortable, and you'll get stalls and food from all over the world at this place. We tried some of the murtabak, Thai fried rice, and some of their famous chicken sticks. Don't let its ambience fool you. The food is absolutely delicious as most of their hawker centers, and this was no different. It was quite cheap, so you can get something for as low as $5 in some cases, and it's absolutely delicious. Highly recommend visiting this if you are in town with your friends and family. Next up on the trip is the most famous Gardens by the Bay in Singapore. This is the place where you'll see some of the beautiful sculptures. It'll also give you the glimpse of the famous Marina Bay Sands, which is pretty much the most iconic building in Singapore. But we are here to actually see these stunning super trees. If you have heard of Singapore, it's unlikely that you have ever missed this photograph. It's what made Singapore super famous globally. These trees are beautiful, and regardless of where you see, you'll always get a perfect shot. It also has a skywalk, but since we were visiting on a rainy day, that skywalk was closed, which we unfortunately missed. But if you have time, highly recommend that skywalk as well. Very close to the Gardens by the Bay is the most famous Marina Bay Sands. It's a fancy mall, and it's a great option if you want to walk around. Right next to the Marina Bay Sands is another building that looks like it's from the future. That's called the Art and Science Museum. If you have limited time, I highly recommend this exhibition, which is called the Future World exhibition at the Art and Science Museum. It has something for both the kids and adults. You will love it. It's so colorful, stunning, splendid. It'll give you enough time to explore everything that you want. This installation, it's the most famous for the right reasons. I'm sure you'll love it. Just a few steps away from the museum is this cute looking Helix bridge. It's a perfect spot for an afternoon stroll and enjoy Singapore's skyline. It also provides you with some great photo opportunities, so don't miss it. After visiting the famous Singapore spots on day one, it's time to visit some of Singapore's cultural districts on second day. Two of the most famous ones is Little India, which is this one. It's a beautiful layover of the new modern India and its old classics. Here you should definitely spend some time at one of their temples. Even if you are not a religious person, these temples are an absolute beauty. Being an Indian, I was impressed by how authentic they look. They're absolutely beautiful, have some religious idols for the people who come here to worship every single day. But for tourists like you and I, these are a great time to learn about Indian culture, their religions, and enjoying some time in between. I absolutely love how authentic and beautiful they were in Singapore. While visiting Little India, highly recommend visiting this Tan Tang Nia temple for a quick photo opportunity. Its contrasting colors make it perfect. While you are at it, you cannot miss Komal Vilas Indian restaurant in Little India. It's perfect to try some South Indian style filter coffee. I loved it. And some authentic Indian food. For us, it was this masala dosa, which was a fluffy spicy pancake with some potato spices, along with this Indian platter, which was an Indian thali with some rice, curries, papadum and yogurt. It was a great meal after a long day. So, highly recommend this place. Next spot on our cultural Singaporean adventure was Haji Lane to visit their most famous Sultan Mosque. It's absolutely splendid. This lane is full of amazing restaurants, be it Turkish, Middle Eastern, Indian or authentic Singaporean. You'll find everything here. So it's a great place to have some photographs, have some food, enjoy some really good looking murals like this one. How beautiful and realistic it looks. It was gorgeous. It's a great time, but highly recommend visiting the Sultan Mosque. If you are a Muslim, you can also enter inside and pray, but for everyone else, enjoy it from the outside. Now, before we call it a day, it's time to enjoy some more Singaporean authentic delicacies like the kaya jam. This was part of our breakfast one day. It was actually quite delicious. It's a combination of apple and pear, but has a very different texture to jam. So, highly recommend trying it whenever you are in Singapore. Next on the menu was this Vietnamese street stall where we tried some chicken rice and egg, and I tried the authentic style Vietnamese banh mi, which was quite loaded but didn't had any protein, so was a bit of a letdown, but it was still delicious regardless. You can't leave Singapore without trying a roti prata. It comes with a chicken and a mutton curry with an Indian style flatbread but made very differently. Finally, we ended the day with this cute looking cafe called Sinful Cakes, and I tried their authentic brownie, which was quite loaded with walnuts and was absolutely delicious and warm. Now, before we leave Singapore, you have to have some fun at Singapore Airport. Start with the Jewel at Terminal 1. This is their newest installation called the Wonderfall, which is a digital waterfall that's absolutely fantastic. The final one is this kinetic rain. Bye! I'll see you in the next one.